you?
Good, how are you? Thank you so much for coming and joining us today.
Pleasure.
I really appreciate it. This is Sarah Greener. I've asked Sarah to come because I feel that she can provide you with some value on getting your time back in business, and also me some value, so I'm really looking forward to what you have to say. Can you just give everyone a bit of an intro and, I don't know, maybe a fun fact about yourself or something?
Awesome. So I'm Sarah Greener, I'm a business coach. I've been in and around living and breathing business for 12 years in our own businesses, but since I was 15 years old, family's been in and around business, all of the families in business, so, could almost say it was in my blood a little bit. So, really, love the business of business, so been in all sorts of different industries and sort of thing. And a fun fact, I'm always unsure of what to share with a fun fact, but let's go with this one. I'm an undefeated Muay Thai fighter. So I've had the grand total of 2 matches, but I won both of them. So.
Oh yeah, claim it. Yeah.
Claim it. Sounds good, right? Undefeated. We don't have to tell them it was 2, and it was really not, amateur.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
Cool. Well, let's get started.
Yeah.
I would like to know, you've told me a bit about what you do, and I've had a bit of a think about it. So sometimes in my day, I feel a bit like I need to be working 24/7, especially now I'm in the first 6 months of business and I always have things to do and everything. So basically, am I spending enough time on my business even if I take a break or I don't know, something like that?
Yeah, and so the realities are is that for everyone that's different, right? Depending on the age and stage that you are in your life, and I would say the chapter almost, is going to depend on how much time, effort and energy you're putting into your business. So when we started, I was 24, 25, and we bought our first business here in New Zealand. It was myself and then fiancé, now husband, and we lived and breathed it. We were on the boat 24/7. We literally lived in our business, and we loved it. But that's where we had our fun. That's where we socialised. That's where we got our fitness, because we were kayaking and snorkeling. So it really does depend. So I'm not going to advocate that that's the life for everyone, but for us then, we were living on a boat in the Bay of Islands in New Zealand. In terms of like work-life balance, there was just no need for it. So we were really in alignment with what was most important to us, which was our business, our relationship together, and our health.
Yeah.
So what you need to work out is, when you're working, is how am I fitting in the things that are most important to you? And there's not a huge number of things that are most important to you, right? So, so we're going to limit those. So we're going to say that there's somewhere between 3 to 7 things in your life that are most important. We're going to do just those things. If you can run your business in 8 hours a week and make the money that you want to make and do the things that you want to do with your life, like that's your vision of success, then I think go for it. If you would rather do 50 hours a week right now because you're really excited about your business and it's new and exciting, you want to get ahead, then I think you should do that. I don't think that working all the hours makes a business successful, and it doesn't make a person successful. You have to define what that's going to be, and once you've defined that, you'll stop comparing, because you'll go, well, these things are important to me, and if I'm getting time to do those things and I'm meeting these standards and these milestones, that'll be success for me. So taking a break is important, because you can't be a great business person, you can't be a great friend or a great daughter or a mother or a sister or whatever you are, whatever roles you play, you can't be any of those things if you're an empty cup. You've really got to make sure you look after yourself first, and so that'll be, what are those things that are important to me? And one of them's going to be, hopefully, it's going to be you, looking after yourself. Yeah,
absolutely. So what do you think I should do? So should I go home? Should I write this list out? And I don't know, is there an exercise I can do to figure it out? I feel like I could, off the top of my head, probably say it, or if someone's struggling.
What was most important to you?
Yeah.
So I use the language, what's your highest life priorities? So these are the things, if I took them out of your life next week, they would physically pain you, you would feel lost without them, right? And so there's some quick things. So if I show you your calendar, so actually how you spent your time last week, and then if we looked at actually how you spent your money last week or the last month, so those are 2 really quick things people can do to do a quick audit of what's currently most important to them. Okay. Where am I spending my money? Where am I spending my time? And what are the top 3 things? And so And I guess my story and how I got into this was that I would say to you, you would ask what was most important to me, and I'd say, oh, my husband and my daughter. Definitely, I love Johnny and I love Scarlett, and they're my most important things. If you looked at my calendar and my bank account, you wouldn't have even known they existed. Like, I just didn't spend any time with them or spend any money on them. And you will always have time and money for the things that are most important to you. Now, that's not, when that happened for me, that was a real punch in the face. I was 30 years old. What do you mean I don't have time for my husband and my daughter? But I really had got my priorities out of whack. And so I was telling the story that when I made the businesses successful, if I worked harder, because we've all heard that, right? Work hard, build the business, you'll get more money, you might sell it, or, you might get to a point where you don't have to work into it anymore. And then you'll be successful, and then you can be a great wife and a great mother then.
Yeah.
Well, that was never going to happen the way I was doing it. At 80, 100 hours a week, I wasn't going to have a relationship with my daughter, and I certainly wasn't going to have a marriage left if I carried on like that. Yeah. So looking at where you spend your time and money, and if you're not in alignment, like I was, massively out of alignment, then you make some adjustments, you make some changes. And for me, it was a long journey. It was about four years of making some pretty big changes for us in our businesses.
Wow.
Yeah. So and just don't dig a big hole. So I was in a massive hole, as 80 to 100 hours a week consistently for years. So yeah, don't dig a big hole. Stop. Let me be the cautionary tale. So have a look at where you spend your time and money. So that would be the first thing I would do. And then there's some other things you can talk about. So what are the things that light you up? So if you go to the world's most boring party and you're like, oh my god, I'm so tired and I want to go home, and then someone starts talking about perhaps social media in your case, and you light up, and you could then talk about it until 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was the best party ever because you talked about that. That's probably something that's a high stuff priority for you.
That's interesting. I'm having a lot of ideas now. Things are circling around in my brain. I don't know about how you're feeling, but that's really interesting to talk about, to get started with. Cool. So at times I feel like no, actually, you know what? Always, I am really happy with my life. I practice gratitude and I write in my gratitude journal. I think that's really important. However, there are some times when I'm feeling like, come on, I want all the things that I want. I want all the things that are on my wish list. I want more skills. I want more knowledge. I want so much more. Is there anything you can say to that feeling?
Yeah, of wanting more. So in terms of wanting more, is it more, are they these specific goals that you have, or are they specific things that you're going to need to get to the goal?
Good question. Perhaps a bit of both. I know, I want more knowledge. I want so much more knowledge that I'll go online. I don't know if anyone feels like they can relate. They'll go online and there's so much knowledge out there, and even with social media, you can never know everything, and I just want to download all of it into my brain.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much now. I mean, when we started out in business, so 12 years ago, there wasn't any of that. People didn't share their IP, their knowledge. It was kept very, very close. And over the last decade, that's just changed, right? So, and I always say when I'm coaching with people or I'm working with clients or running a workshop, I'm not standing up here teaching you anything new. Yeah, in 2019, and we're going into a new decade, in 2020, you can Google the answer, or YouTube it, or be careful with it, but social media as well, Facebook and Instagram, there'll be some information out there that you can absolutely use. So you really don't need to keep it in your brain for starters.
Okay.
I think what I always say to my clients is, right now, you have everything you need right now to do everything you need to do right now. Your problem isn't your lack of resources. It's not a lack of knowledge, it's not a lack of skills. It's the way that you're using those resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. And so the more resourceful we get, the better results we have. And I always look back in those first early years in business, God, man, we were really resourceful because we didn't have a lot, right? So you think differently when there's no money coming in, or you've outlaid a lot of cash to get into a business. how do you make that work at that point? And you kind of, that whole bootstrapping mentality of how can I make this work? How can I market this differently without spending a whole lot of money? How can I go and find new clients, easily? You think differently. And so I guess my assurance to all my clients is always, you've got everything you need. We've just got to uncover it and use it really wisely. And if you don't have what you need right now in terms of skills and knowledge, let's go and find it and let's have a really clear plan for getting it. But I think the world sells us that more's better. Yeah. Every time you go on social, there's some other pop-up sponsored ad, telling you that you need this piece of software or that bit of software or this course or this program. And there's some value in it, but you need to be really clear about what journey you're going on, where you're trying to get to, and then you plug in what you need along that journey. Because honestly, you could spend 24/7, 365 doing courses, learning new stuff, upskilling it, but if you don't do any of it, you may as well have not wasted your time and wasted your money, right? You go on to these personal development things, you see the same people over and over again, going to the same type of workshops, working on themselves. They've not applied any of it. You've got to, nothing works unless you work it. You've got to go and do the work. So, right now, you have everything you need, that you can go and take some really massive steps forward to get to your goals. And I would say be really clear about what those things are, and you've probably got a really, really massive list. I would get really specific about what those things are. Yeah. Actually, if I just got those 3 things, life would be awesome. Yeah. You know what you want, but perhaps you're thinking that you're going to get it all now, like all in the next 12 months, and then you're disappointed when you don't, right? So I really advocate that we look further, that we go look 10 years in the future, and sometimes when I'm talking with people a bit younger than me, probably half my age, they go, oh my God, 10 years, I don't know what I'm doing next week, how am I going to know in 10 years? And so just to give you kind of a parameter, I go, so if you look at who you were 10 years ago, so take 10 years off your age, so for me I'm 38, if I go back to 10 years ago I was 28, what have I achieved since 28 to 38? I've done a huge amount. Yeah. I've done so much amazing, awesome stuff. We don't often reflect back on all the things that we did that were awesome. Yeah. We often reflect back on the things that didn't go well and what we could have done differently and how we need to show up differently. But we don't look at all the amazing things that we've done. So if you just broadcast that forward for the next 10 years, like even if you're only 24 and you're looking back to 14 to 24, you've still achieved a huge amount in your lifetime, right? Yeah. So if we portray that forward, I'm like, you want to look at what is your vision for your life on the basis of those 3 to 7 highest life priorities. What does your life look like as a vision in the future? So, when I say to people, you want a picture to begin with, and eventually I want a high-def movie of what your vision would like, so you can play it out inside your brain of what it will look like in 10 years' time. Yeah. And then we reverse engineer that, because if you're stuck in the post-its, which is your equivalent of what do I need to get done right now today to survive to tomorrow or to survive from this week to next week, we're so busy looking down at our feet, we forget to lift our heads up and go, are we going in the right direction? Because when you're looking at your feet, when you're looking at the day-to-day and the week-to-week, it's really easy to be going completely the wrong direction. Yeah. So this way we can get aligned with where we ultimately want to be. And it actually reduces some of the choices that you have to make, because if it's not in alignment with that vision, we're not doing it. Yeah.
I have to make a lot of choices every week on what I'm going to work on, and day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute sometimes.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's something, you do have a system that you kind of use to manage that.
Yeah, and so when you have to make all those choices, where do you end up? Where's the how do you feel?
On Netflix.
Yeah.
I end up on Netflix. Like procrastinating? No. Overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed. Yeah.
So I was just going to say the overwhelm. So the overwhelm comes because as human beings, we've got so many more choices than we've ever had. Yes. Like if you just think back just a couple of years, there was no Uber Eats, right? Like what was in the fridge was what you were eating for dinner. Now, you pull up your phone and there's, I don't know how many restaurants on there that you can order from. We just have so many choices. And human beings and our brains and our ability to make decisions and the rest of the kind of evolutionary changes come over a really long period of time. But our choices have come really, really quickly. So it wasn't that long ago that if you were born into nobility, you were noble and you did no work and everybody looked after you. If you were born into religion,
that'd be nice.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be bored. You're born into religion, you were religious. If you were born a serf, you served the people that were in nobility and that were religious. And that changed really quickly. And we went from, you'll get married to who we told you you'd get married to now I can choose who I'll get married to. It was only, the 70s when women only got the right to divorce in the 70s in New Zealand. Like, it's just not that long.
Yeah.
We've had the right to vote. And now we're having big discussions, like you can marry whoever you want. It's awesome, because it means explaining marriage to your children is very, very easy. You just marry whoever you like, so long as you love them, and they're not in part of your family. It was a whole lot more complicated before that. We're having the conversation about the right to die. They're not choices that we had 2 years ago. And so human beings haven't learned how to make good decisions. I don't know about you, but at school nobody taught me how to make a good decision.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
They're always telling you to make good decisions, make a good decision. I do it with my daughter when we're growing up, make a good decision, like don't throw that food on the floor, that's a bad decision, that'll have a consequence.
I think, and also a consequence to others. So the good decision, the word good decision could mean on a consequence and effect on other people opposed to yourself.
Absolutely. And so we're just not taught how to do that. And so we've built up this whole array of choices, which means we have to make a lot more decisions. So if I said to you today, from the moment you got up to the moment you arrived here at work, how many decisions do you think you made just in that short period of time?
A lot, I think. Yeah.
10,
I would say
30, 50?
I would say maybe 10 to 15.
Okay, cool. So did you decide what time to get up?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was last night, wasn't it?
Okay, so you decided last night what time to get up, and so when the alarm got up, did you make a decision, or did you just get up?
I always get up. It's the only way I can get out of
Awesome,
bed.
perfect. So that's great. So you've already done something that I would suggest that people do. So we want to reduce the number of decisions we make by making one decision that takes out all the rest of the decisions. So, for example, an alarm is one of those things. So when an alarm goes off, we get up and we move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Life hack, by the way, put your alarm on the other side of your room.
Yes.
Otherwise,
absolutely.
I would make so many decisions to snooze it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I hear from people is they're like, well, yeah, I set my alarm for 6 o'clock, but I snoozed it till 6:30.
Yeah.
Because, I don't really have to get up till 6:30, right? So that's one decision. And then you get dressed. And so unless you had a plan for what you were going to wear, you might have changed your top 3 times or picked up 2 tops and they were dirty, and so you've made all these decisions. What way am I going to drive to work? Am I going to have my coffee before my shower or after my shower?
I didn't even think about that stuff.
Yeah, but you're not thinking about that. Your brain's making those decisions, right? Unless you do them in a ritual way, which means you do the same thing every day, you're making those choices all the time. Where am I going to park? How am I going to get? Bus, we can park, is there a bus strike on, can I catch the bus? There's so many decisions, and so we want to reduce that, because the more choices we have means the more decisions we have to make equals the greater level of overwhelm we have. And so overwhelm often comes out of success almost, because the more success you have, the more opportunities that come at you, so the more choices you have, which means the more decisions you have to make, right? And so it's almost this it's this challenge. We want to have that success so that we've got those options, but we don't want to have to make all those decisions, or we don't want to deal with making them. So what we want to do is reduce the choices, and so we do that through the highest life priorities, right? If it's not in alignment with our highest life priorities, for me, if it's not about my self-care, it's not about my relationship with my husband, my relationship with my daughter, our businesses, my personal growth, or our wealth building, I don't say yes. I say no. Yeah, no. I say hell yeah to the rest of the stuff. If it's not getting me closer to my vision, I don't do it. And I know what's getting me closer to my vision, because it'll be something that will move me closer to my 1 year goals. Yeah. So that's already reduced my choices dramatically, right? I had to take some stuff off my plate. I had lots of community work that I was doing, and trying to do all sorts of, Muay Thai. I was trying to do kickboxing, which in the 8 weeks leading up to a match is incredibly intensive. Well, still need to look after myself health-wise, but that's not something that I could leave on my plate anymore, so I had to come off. So we reduce the choices, and then we reduce the number of decisions we make by doing things like, I always get up at 6 o'clock. So it's not a thought, I just I don't decide. I've made the decision at the start of the year that 2020 is going to be the year of getting up at 6 a.m. I'm always going to wear on a Monday this orange top and these black pants. On a Tuesday, I'm going to wear a pink top and a black skirt, whatever. You see lots of incredibly successful people make decisions like that. So Obama, it feels almost like he wore the same suit for most of his presidency, right? You think about Elon Musk, black t-shirt, Zuckerberg, hoodie, we struggle to think about women, but the strain from World always wears black. Fashion designer. God, what's her name? Is it Della Strange? Yeah. So she's in New Zealand. Yeah. So what is it that you don't need to decide at the time? So food's another good one. People go, I'm not eating sugar anymore. So one decision has just taken out thousands of options. They're gone because they've got sugar in them.
Yeah.
Or I fast until midday. Don't have to make any choices about breakfast anymore. I just have to eat lunch and dinner. Yeah. So it's those sorts of things that reduce it, and that'll start to reduce the overwhelm because your brain doesn't need to make all of those choices anymore. You've just gone, I've done that bit.
Cool. So are you giving yourself too many options? I think I am, and I'm going to start making changes now because that's awesome advice. So that's so valuable, and I feel like that's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, you really want to have that framework around what is important to you, and that's your life, that's your version of success, and you're working on that. That's it.
Yeah.
And depending on your chapter of your life, that's going to change a little bit. So I'm in a different chapter of my life from you. I have a husband and a daughter. Yeah. So, there's some different things there that I'm saying yes to. You're probably not building Christmas floats for the school or or going to dance recitals. Yeah. But those things are important to my daughter, so I'm doing those. Whereas, back when we were starting out in business, I certainly wasn't doing those things.
Cool. So I think, and alongside the reducing decisions that you're giving yourself, there comes like an element of planning. So I have like a system, and it's got post-it notes on it, and I've managed to break it down so it doesn't just say build a website. It says homepage, and then behind it is another post-it note that says about page and da 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 da. It's not too overwhelming. Right. On one of my post-it notes is a create daily schedule. Right. It's literally a to-do list to make a thing to tell me what to do.
Right.
But when I think about it, I think I don't want to limit myself in creating this thing, because I like, it's a whole thing of being an entrepreneur is you want the freedom to do stuff. So
yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
And how's that freedom working out for you?
Okay.
So here's the thing, we all got in business for freedom. Freedom away from the 9 to 5, I didn't want to work for the man, I was going to have financial freedom. Some people are building businesses so they can have location freedom. We were all looking for some form of freedom. And what I see a lot of, and what I did myself, was I didn't create freedom at all. I created this business that became my life. Sure, I loved it, but there wasn't room for anything else that I loved, and there was some other stuff that I loved, right? So you want to be really, really careful about how you design that business. So we talked earlier about kind of designing a business that suits your life. So my business needs to fit in around my highest life priorities, of which business is one, not all of them. And so when we talk about planning, the reason that we plan is because urgent stuff comes up, right? So if you don't have a plan, will you be able to fill your day full of stuff every day? Maybe not the right stuff, but you'll still use up all 168 hours that you get in a week, right? And so the way that we stop that from happening is to kind of have a plan. And so if you don't have a plan, you don't have freedom away from anything. You're just doing whatever you feel like. There's actually not the freedom to go away and move away from what I had planned. I'm not bunking off from school, I'm not bunking off from work because I don't have a 9 to 5 job. So how do I actually create something that I take a break from, that I can have the freedom to go away from? And so the way that we do that is we create a framework that allows you to plan your week. So I love that you've thought about planning your day by day, but planning day by day feels overwhelming to you, and one of the reasons is that because it feels a bit last minute. So you're going to do it in this 1 hour of planning, and so by doing that, you're going to make all your choices then. So we talked before about reducing the number of decisions you're going to make. Imagine if you made all your decisions in 1 hour. What we didn't talk before about is your decision-making ability is actually you only kind of get so many decision-making points in a day. It's a bit like a muscle. Same muscle, like you can only do so many bicep curls before you go to fatigue.
Yeah.
Same thing with your decision making. Also happens to be the part of your brain that's responsible for willpower. So if you're like me, and at the end of the day, and you've made lots of choices and lots of decisions, get to the end of the day and you're like, should I eat one square of chocolate or the whole block? And the whole block goes, that's why. Because you've used up all of that resource that you have for making great decisions. And they've studied it all over the world. They've studied it with parole judges. If you're going to come up for parole, be the first person, because by the time they get to lunch, you've got zero chance of getting out on parole.
Wow.
Yeah, feed them a little bit after lunch. It comes back up to 70% chance, but very quickly drops down to nothing. And the reason for that is, even though we are still making a decision, we make the easier decision. The decision we feel like has the least likelihood of negative consequences, and it doesn't mean it's the best decision. It just means it's the easiest one. So it's easier to send somebody back inside than to give them parole. It has simpler consequences on a grander scale, right?
Yeah.
So same thing. So what we want to do is in that 1 hour is we want to take that 1 hour and we want to do it when we are on. So if you're a morning person, you want to do it in the morning. If you're a nighttime person, you want to do it at nighttime. We don't do it on a Sunday night and we don't do it on Friday afternoon because of the reason I was talking about before. It'll just fall off the end of the week. You'll be like, oh, I'll do that on Monday morning when I get started, and then you'll get into the day on Monday morning and the week will just come at you and you just get started, right? So I would tend to recommend you do it on a Wednesday or a Thursday.
For the next week?
For the next week, starting Monday to Sunday.
Okay.
It takes a little bit of getting used to, and the reason it takes a little bit of getting used to is because you've trained everyone that when they call you, you're going to be free to do stuff.
Yeah.
And that's going to take some retraining. Now, when they ring you, you're going to go, yeah, awesome, I can absolutely do that next week on Wednesday, not right now. And so we do the planning, so we stop, we use that time to realign with where our vision are, where we're going. So every week we're looking at what's the 10-year vision and reading over our 1 year goals to make sure that our actions, our brain is constantly working us towards those goals. And then we chunk our week. What are all the things I need to do this week that move me closer to the goal, or what are all the things I have to do to make sure that, you know, I'm clean and I've been fed and I've had some exercise and I've had some good food. You know, when we first start doing that, we're going to chunk everything. And so we write it down, and it's not a to-do list. So we're going to ban the to-do list.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's why the to-do list is no good, because to-do lists are great, because when you tick stuff off, it feels awesome, right?
Does,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, whoa, that's
Scrunch
awesome.
up my post-it note.
Yeah, absolutely, and you get a little endorphin buzz off that, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know about you, but I was guilty of this. I have this big long to-do list, and then I'd write 2 things on the bottom that I've already done just to tick them off, so that I could get the rush.
Right to-do list.
Exactly, right? Because we get a buzz off it. So when you get a buzz off of something, so it's really important to you because you get that shot of adrenaline, that shot of endorphins, to tick things off. So what gets done first on your to-do list?
Generally for me?
Yeah.
Oh, the easiest.
The easiest or the fastest things to do.
Yeah.
And not just for you, for all of us, right? Because we're like, if I tick it off, woohoo, it feels great, right? So, and are the easiest and the simplest things to do often the things that are most important that get us closer to our vision? No, they're not. So instead of running a to-do list, what we want to do is chunk. And so we're going to sit down for that hour each week, and we're going to have reviewed those visions, so we're really in alignment, and then we're going to chunk our week. So I do it under the highest life priorities. If I was going to chunk my whole week together, and my critical success factors for my business, and I work out what are all the things that I need to do this week that will move me closer to the 1 year goals, which are in alignment with the 10-year vision, and then everything gets written down. So some of the stuff is stuff that you might have already booked in, so you might have some meetings that you've booked in, or you have to pay some people if you've got a team, you might have wages, payroll you have to approve. So there might be some stuff that happens all the time, and then there'll be some stuff that aligns you with where are we going, what's the most important things. I'm going to check in, make sure that each week we're doing something that moves us closer to those vision and goals. Because let's be honest, if we all did one thing each week that moved us closer to our vision and goals, we'd all achieve them so much faster.
Yeah.
It's just that they get forgotten in the busyness of the day. So the chunking helps you do that. Then for each of those tasks that you've written down, you're going to say how long they're going to take. So if we were shooting these videos, you might say, hey, they're going to take me 2 lots of 2 hours to shoot the videos, and then maybe another 2 lots of 2 hours to edit them, and you'd write that down next to the chunk. So we do all of this on paper, so not in technology yet, pen and paper, because it's giving real form to your thoughts about what's going to happen this week. And then we review it, because we don't want to put that all into our schedule, because it's likely you've written down enough work for probably about 3 weeks. And so we want to look at it and go, what's on here that actually doesn't need to get done? What can actually be deleted? Because often there'll be things on there that we think we need to get done, but they're actually not that important. And if we didn't do them at all, would anybody even notice? And so those things can be deleted. What are the things that we can automate? Because we live in 2020 and 2019, 2020, and there's just so many tools and things like that that are going to allow us to not do the work, whether it be a chatbot, like you've talked about with some people, whether it be scheduling software, whether it be autoresponders in terms of emails. There's just so many tools. So we're going to use those. And so that this first week might be a bit more work, because we're going to have to build it so that it's working well with the technology, but then we won't have to do it again next week. And then the last thing we want to look at is to delegate or to outsource. So if you're a solo owner, you don't have a team yet, that's okay. You've still got the access to outsource things somewhere else. And we outsource locally, we outsource internationally. And I think the thing that's really important to remember, if you do have a team, is that as owners we insert ourselves in parts of the business that we have no business doing. I remember our first year, and it was a long time ago, I remember building a new website for our boat cruise. Literally building was really crap, because I'm not a designer, I have no head for any of that sort of stuff. Built it all out, got it ready to go live, and no one would ever have found it because I didn't know a thing about SEO. And so I spent weeks building this thing. What a waste of time. Whereas if I just paid someone who knew what they were doing, we would have this beautiful website live. And so as owners, we've got to be really careful not to insert ourselves where we're not needed. We need to understand what's going on and kind of direct the ship, but we don't have to go down and fix the engines and decide which way we're going all the time. So it's a really good description. You're not the plumber.
Yeah.
I love that. I learned that from our company in the States, and they said, as a business owner, you think you're the plumber, and if you are literally a plumber, you're the plumber, but we don't need to be the plumber in our business. We don't need to fix the toilet when it gets blocked. We actually need to stay in our lane and do what we need to do and steer the business in the right direction. So get rid of that stuff that you don't need to do. Now you're left with the stuff that can go in the schedule, and so now we're going to schedule the most important things first. And depending on who you are and how good you are at this stuff, for me, my journey was that I used to sacrifice. I used to let myself fall off the list all the time, and it's still a really bad habit, because if I get into a place where I've got some stuff to get done and then I need to get home to Johnny and Scarlett, I'll sacrifice the things that are important to me. Yeah. So I really have to work hard on that. So if you're that person, if you've got something that always falls off the wagon, that goes in the schedule first. That gets into the technology first, because we want to say to ourselves, to our brains, to us, this is most important, I'm going to get this stuff done. And then we work our way through it and we put everything else in. Obviously that's booked in a certain time with someone else is going to go in kind of the first, and then everything's in there. And then when we get up on Monday morning or whatever day your week starts, we don't think, we just do what the calendar tells us. That's it.
Awesome. So valuable.
And we're not aiming for perfection, I guess would be the other thing, because people go, oh my god, I put all this stuff in my calendar and I only got half of it done. If you only got half of it done, you're putting too much in. You think you're Superwoman or Superman, and really easy to do to begin with. And so some really good questions are, if I was asking someone else to do this task, how long would I let them do it? Because a task that you would ask me to do and you would allow me 2 days to do it, you would put in for yourself at 2 hours, because you're a super person and you expect so much more of yourself than you would of other people. So that would be a good check-in. I aim for about 80% each week. If I get 80% of what I scheduled in my calendar, it was a rock star week. Nice. Like really good. And the reason for that is because last week I planned nothing and I got very little done. And this week I planned my week and I got 80% of what I planned, and it was all deliberate. It was in alignment with what was most important to me. It was in alignment with what will make my business successful, and you get great results. I mean, literally, this stuff saved my life. I was working 60 to 100 hours a week every week. Nothing was less than 60 hours, and now I work 30 to 40. And I do all the stuff that I love, and that's it. And the rest I give to other people. It's taken some time. I'm 12 years through my journey, and 4 years through this journey of learning this stuff really well. I had lots of reminders that I needed to learn it, and I didn't listen. Slow learner. I think the thing is to not expect to be great at this stuff right away. It takes, I say, about 90 days of doing it repetitively to get good at it, and years to get really great at it.
And I think that on that note, like getting help in starting with this, you're doing a course online next year?
So I run some group programs around this specific area because I started out business coaching, side hustle, or accidentally got into business coaching, but it started out as a side hustle, and every client I worked with dealt with overwhelm, dealt with I don't know how to make good choices, I've got so much work to do, I've got this to-do list that's never ending. And what it really came down to was that they didn't know how to just take what was most important and do that.
Yeah.
Because we're not taught it anywhere. I certainly didn't get taught it at school. I wish I had been. Could have saved me a whole lot of time.
I should have been taught a lot of things at school, actually.
Let's not get down the education. It's a whole other video. So I run a group program online, and I work with small to medium business owners generally, who are working more than 40 hours a week but not getting the results that they really want to get. Generally I'm seeing something suffering outside of work. So generally their business is doing okay, they're making good money, but they're kind of like, where's this freedom, where's this mythical freedom I thought I was going to get when I helped into business. And so the very first thing that we want to do is give you some time back. So over 6 weeks I give people back a day a week, and then they can do with that what they need to do with it. So for some of them it's to do this whole working on the business. I mean, if you had $1 for every time a guru told you need to work on your business, not in it, we'd all be multi-millionaires. But nobody tells you how to get to the point where you've got the time to do that, because that takes time. So we'll give you back a day a week. You might use it to work on your business, you might use it to go to the beach, you might use it to hang out with your loved ones. If you've got partners and things that have maybe not had your time because you've been doing the grind, then we might shift some of that stuff as well. So over the course of 6 weeks we give them everything they need. So right from talking about kind of some of the stories that they're running around their time to getting really clear, doing a real assessment of what's most important to them, and is that really what they want to be most important. Walk them through step-by-step process. It's all there. You can do it in your own time. And by the end they've got back at least a day a week. In fact, we tend to find that in the first couple of weeks, which is really amazing. And then we give them a process that they can insert into their week that allows them to do what they need to be doing every week to move them closer to their visions and goals.
Cool. And when does that start?
So we'll be kicking that back off in the last week of January next year. So I want to say that's the 27th of January. But if anyone's interested, tell them to reach out and get in contact.
Awesome. Cool. I would recommend that to anyone, especially, and that's a really good time of year to be doing that as well. Enjoy your summer. Go to the beach. Go relax. Because we all know we don't get anything done then. But so end of January, and they can reach out to you. I guess I'll put an email address somewhere.
Absolutely. Also, I'll give you a link. People just book in to grab a quick call with me, and we can have a chat and see if it's a good fit and if it's of use to people.
Cool.
And don't want to waste people's time. It's your most precious resource. You want to look after it.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming today.
My absolute pleasure. It's been great.
Yeah. Awesome.
And look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to start implementing this.
Don't put it off. It's just another decision to make later.